whether or not those should be allowed as part of this transitional housing. So I think that this is probably, there's a lot we can do with this, but I mean, I think there's definitely plenty of discussion to be had here.
Yeah, and I think we can add the accessory dwelling unit, kind of throw that into this conversation. There are certain setups of buildings. There's many residences that are kind of set up as a flat, but they're still integrated on the inside of the home. So you can go from upstairs to downstairs
Right.
from the inside. So from that standpoint, it's a single family dwelling. But you could very easily have an accessory dwelling unit that's not necessarily called that, but it's a separate living unit within the house.
A carriage house above it, for example.
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes. It's when you have separate buildings that it becomes a little bit more convoluted, because we would consider that multiple dwellings, which isn't permitted in residential districts. So I think that, that's one area that we want to look further into. The one thing that it didn't really bring up in these, you can see what the definition of family is. And right now in the city, we have a limit of unrelated people living in a house at 3. I've looked at some of the other municipalities, and 3 isn't an uncommon number. It's fairly common, but 4 is also a very common number. I would throw out there that, being that the city is a college town, and most of the time when kids get out of school, they tend to pair up when they're looking for a place to finish school out when they get out of the dorms. 4 probably is a much more reasonable number, because you get 2 groups of kids. Hey, let's get a house together. You have 4 kids. We've had over the years, had lots of folks call and say, hey, this is a 4-bedroom house, looking at potentially having it, for student housing. And so it does come up sometimes. It's like, well, the limit is 3 unrelated.
What is the historical context for that? I mean, I suspect I have an inkling, but I mean, there's nothing in recent history that led to 3 being the number?
No, not that I'm aware of. It's, most of the language in the book is, the last time this book was really overhauled was 2000. The 2005 ordinance that we operate under, as amended, was pretty much the 2000 book, with obviously some updates. But, and we've been updating to accommodate sort of new trends and things like that over the past, 15, 20 years. But as far as I know, that 3 has been in there for a long time, and I don't really know what the basis of it was. Again, from a fair housing standpoint, students, elderly, disabled, they're all treated the same. Demographics do not matter when it comes to occupancy of a house. So I know that, you can get complaints from the neighbors saying, oh, the students, there's too many kids living there. They're having parties all the time. But you can't discriminate because of somebody's student status. So I think we want to be more accommodating to have kids, be able to find a house when they get out of the dorms, and not have to literally leave the city to do that. Makes the properties more rentable, more saleable. I think it would be a good thing for the city. So that's something I know we haven't discussed that much, but it seems to me that would be a pretty easy fix too. So those are some of my preliminary comments I have for those 2 areas. I know we have more to discuss, and I'll be adding more information as I do some more research as time allows. And again, I welcome your comments and suggestions moving forward, and we'll keep working.
Hi, Jake.
Thank you.
Planning and Neighborhood Resources Update.
Good afternoon. I thought I'd give you an update mostly on the 12th Street Reimagined project, since we're well underway. In front of you, I passed out our market card engagement activity. So we had our first engagement public event on March 27th at the Prep Haggerty Event Center. We had nearly 70 people attend, which was great. Yeah, we had business owners, neighborhood groups, activists, interested residents. It was a really good group. During that activity, we did what's called a market card activity that was led by one of the consultants that have been hired, Fourth Economy. It was designed really to facilitate a discussion on various development options through a scoring system of 1 to 5, 1 being the least, 5 being the most desired. And it really helped to discuss and prioritize different types of businesses and improvements for the corridor. As you can see in the information that I provided, the overall averages by category, really there was a real desire to improve the quality of place, bike lanes, tree plantings, and overall aesthetics of 12th Street. And just as a reminder, this corridor, we're only looking at it from Cherry to the Bayfront. So originally it was a little bit longer study area, but that was shortened. So as you go through, you'll see some of the desires and interests of the residents and business owners, community members, and then the overall community prioritizations, with quality of space being the most, the highest priority, food and entertainment being in high demand for diverse and quality culinary experiences alongside engaging entertainment options, innovation and entrepreneurship and sustainability. And then goods and services was ranking in a little bit lower, but still a desirable outcome for health and wellness category. So this was a great activity. The consultants were able to gather this information, and then they summarized it in this report, and then used this input for the alternatives that they plan to present at the mini charrette on May 21st. It's an evening activity, so we tried to switch it up a little bit for those that are working during the day. But I wanted to ask, that's the same day as the next Planning Commission meeting, and I'd like to ask if you would like to do a working session either before or after your meeting to meet with the consultants. They can outline some of the renderings or even show you some of the concepts and alternatives that have come from the community input, and just simply present some of the findings to you. If you would be interested in that, then we can set that up.
Is the administration going to cancel it last minute?
I hope not.
Yeah.
Do you find, would that be of interest to you? And I'm
Yeah.
happy to set that up with Jake. Okay.
As part of our regular meeting, or?
I would say that if, I suggested as a working session, maybe like an hour before, we could sit down hour to hour and a half. I think an hour would be enough time.
Okay.
And then have your regular meeting after that. That way there can be more interaction, maybe
Sure.
discussion.
I'm
Okay.
curious, do you have, I guess, like the more detailed results, like how they've bifurcated some of this by different demographic groups? Do we have that type of insight too? So understanding, certain generations prioritize health and wellness above, sustainability, some of
Sure.
those details.
It's a good question. So not this activity, the demographics were not asked. It was simply a visioning activity. However, at the charrette, and also we plan to have engage the youth at Strong Vincent, and they don't know this yet, but at Prep, because many students cross over 12th Street to go to the Prep Haggerty Event Center. So we plan to engage the youth there. We also, the consultants are also working, interviewing separately businesses, Sisters of St. Joseph, our West Bay Front, and then multiple business owners along the corridor and even downtown to gain input. So, yeah, there is more than just this market activity going on. And we will be present. We'll be present with many of those interviews with the businesses, so we can also gain some knowledge in terms of what local businesses are desiring, not only for the corridor, but also for downtown. So I'll make sure to set up with Jake a working session, probably prior to the meeting. I think does that sound okay? Prior to the meeting, at maybe from 11 to 12, or do you want to do we could do a working lunch? I don't know what.
I mean, we can work out the details with, see what their schedule looks
Okay.
like.
Our meeting's
as far
at
as
1.
coming in town.
Why wouldn't we just go from 12 to 1?
I'm good with that. I mean, tentatively, but yeah, I'll check and see what their schedule can accommodate too.
Yeah.
As
Okay.
soon as possible.
Okay, we can work that out.
I'm
Sure.
curious, is this market card, activity, is there a way that this can be scaled online almost to the broader section of the community? I mean, 70 is fantastic engagement, especially for eerie
It was,
things.
yeah.
That's awesome. I would be curious just, I mean, this is great information to understand on, a even broader scale if possible. Is that, I guess I'm asking more from a technical feasibility. Is this something that can be put online, or does it really require that in-person engagement to get through it?
So I think with any kind of engagement, I mean, yes, you could.
I'm thinking in the context like the streets or the transportation plan,
Safe-
where that,
Safe
yeah,
Streets
that
and
was
Roads
online. I thought that was great. I agree, able to go through it.
Mm-hmm.
Is this something similar that could be?
I think the discussion at the tables was very valuable because, we would pull up a specific card and it might have said movie theater, several things having to do with entertainment. And then we'd have a discussion about it and how it might seem in terms of a transportation viewpoint or connection with the north and south neighborhoods. So that was helpful to have a discussion points around it, but you certainly could do something like that through more of a survey, which we do have a survey online. All of this information is on our landing page on the city's website. So you'll find the survey, the markets activity results. You'll find a survey if you weren't able to attend on the landing page on the website. But I do think that the discussion is very valuable, and anytime that you're doing engagement, it helps to bounce ideas back. So at the Mini Charrette evening event, I think it will be more of the same type of discussion. But yeah, just let me check. I'm just looking at the agenda. Next week, we plan to have the steering committee meeting for this project, and then we're gonna do a walkthrough of the project area. So the project end date is the end of June. So it like you already know, it is an aggressive schedule, and so far it's going pretty smoothly. So. I can give you some other updates or answer any of the questions about some of the other projects, but I can save that for next time also.
What was the original corridor that was going to be considered?
The original corridor, it might have been Sassafras, Aaron, state to
the
Bayfront. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But this came up during the first public engagement, and people asked, well, why, it seems more logical that you would include all of that, especially because it's the gateway into downtown.
Yeah.
But there was a very good comment that there is investment already going on from Cherry to downtown, large investment being made there. And so it makes sense to focus on the area that really is in need, which is the Cherry to the Bayfront. That being said, I just spoke with the consultant yesterday, and I said we should make sure that we include those business owners east of Cherry to
Yeah.
make sure that we gather their input as well, and engage them as well into the plan, because they are part of the corridor as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'll grant you, there's investment certainly going on east of Cherry, but that corridor needs consideration and improvement, just like the balance of it does. I mean,
Sure.
I think
Sure.
it's obviously, I think piggybacking off of that, making sure that while they may be different activities, that it's been broken up, that they've got to be one cohesive vision.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be able to drive down the street and be able to tell exactly where that planning ended. Like, you go drive, west in the
Yeah.
middle of winter when it's snowing, and you hit Pittsburgh Avenue, you can tell you're not in, Erie anymore. Like, we shouldn't be able to see those things. Now, this isn't a
No.
criticism or anything, more just, I think, to what you're saying, yes, there's investment going on, yes, this is focusing on the areas that there's less investment, but when we bring it all together, obviously, we want to make sure that it's one
Of course.
cohesive vision.
As a transportation study, which it is still a transportation study
Mm-hmm.
as well, yes, we're looking at it holistically and as a corridor. I think in terms of the land use and economic development, that was more of a focus on those parcels that are underutilized on that side of the corridor. So I think that's when the study area shrunk, is when looking at it from the land use perspective, not aesthetics, not street lighting, not bike lanes, not transportation. That is all encompassing of 12th Street, so. Okay.
Thank you.
And next time, I'll give you an update of some of the other projects that we have in motion, so more comprehensively, but this is kind of the focus I wanted to. I hope you can make it to either our working session or to the evening event on the 21st. We hope to have some more elected officials there, so, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Do we have any public comment? No?
I just want to say thank you to the Planning Commission and for all the work that they're doing with that 12th Street. I went to that 12th Street Imagining, and what was nice was the people at my table were all new to me. And so I met some business owners, and I met some young men engineers who are working on different projects or whatever in the city. I think they said they were. But it was good working together and discussing and bringing up new ideas and getting different mindsets, because I've been in Erie my whole life. I'm in my 60s, but at the table that we were at, we were all diverse and everything. So that was good. Public input is very important. And I do like the fact that it would be nice to have it start at State Street and then continue on to. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to
Okay,
adjourn.
second?
I'll second.
Thanks. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.